3. All right. So we'll just continue a little on chapter 2, and we'll also start on chapter 3. Okay. So make sure you get, after you finish this class, make sure you sign the attendance in my new future. Okay. How are all of you? Okay. All of you okay? Was the weekend good?
Good, sir.
Yeah. All right. So I assume everyone else is also doing fine. Okay. So let's go back to where we left off in chapter 2. Okay. Or what we did in chapter 2. Okay. So let's just recap what we have done so far in chapter 2 and see how much can we cover back in chapter 2 today. Okay. Chapter 2, we started with the services, OS services. Okay. So we have two types of service, one which is the command line interface service and the graphical user interface. Okay. So I have also shown you simple commands using command line interface, and we have done a few, and yep, we have seen graphical user interface as well. Okay, and then why do we need these services? Because, all right, so these are the services provided by the operating system. File system manipulation. You can manipulate the files, you can read, write. Okay, you can communicate between computers, you can communicate within the network. Okay, this is what the operating system will provide. And the operating system also provide detection, error detection. If there is any error, hardware and software, well, the operating system can detect this error and can handle it. Resource allocation, how much space, how much file, how much memory is needed by any application program, and keeping track of who uses what, okay, which user can use what, which user cannot use what, which user can also install what. Okay, so this is the type of services OS services provided. Next is also providing some protection and security. Who can edit this file, who cannot edit this file, and things like that. Okay, so this is command line interface. Sorry, here we are. This is what we say is the view of the OS. Okay, so you have, let me just make the screen big. Okay, so this is where the user is at the top, you and me and other programs. So we have a few types of user interface. One is the GUI, one is the command line interface, and one is the batch. Okay, in these chapters, we are only going to explain about GUI and command line. Okay, so when we talk about command line, we need to know the instruction for each command in order for us to execute the command. So this user interface is the black screen you see. So the user will type in the command or instructions, and the operating system will execute. When it executes, is executing the system call. So in order for a user to access the system call, so it needs to type in certain instruction for it to access the system call. So what kind of system call is there is provided by the operating system? So the operating system provides program execution, input output operation, file system communication, resource allocation, accounting, protection, and error. So these are the system calls provided by the operating system, or we can say these are the services. So what is happening is, in command line, the user will type in an instruction. This instruction will call the system call, and the system call will call a service. Okay, so command line instruction equals to system call equals to services. All right. However, in a graphical user interface, there is no instructions, merely graphical user interface, mainly interface. So from the graphical user interface, automatically straight it calls the system call, which calls the appropriate services. Okay, and all of this is done by the operating system. That's why you can see this whole thing is blue. Okay, so in the command line interface, the command line, you run a certain type of instruction. This instruction will call the system call, which actually will call the services. Okay, which will call the services. Why can't we have a command line straight into the services? Kenapa kita kena ada command line, instruction, system call, services? Okay, why do we have to go stage after stage after stage? Simply because if the user or if the operating system allows users to directly access each of these services, then there will be some problems, because you have to remember the operating system needs to run multiple process, multiple program at one given point of time. So if all of the process and all of the programs, okay, are accessing the same thing, then there will be some problem. So that's why the operating system will handle each command, each instruction line by line and wait for its turn. Okay, for example, in system call, in file services, let's say you are copying a file, copy into another folder. At the same time, you want to save. At the same time, you want to print. So now there is going to be a problem. So what the operating system will do is it will do it stage by stage, one after another, one process after another process. Okay. Alright, ada orang nak tanya soalan? Someone wants to ask question?
So tadi ada orang request nak masuk.
Oh, tak masuk lagi. Okay. For those who come late, I am sorry, because I will start sharp 9 o'clock. You come in whatever time, you just have to wait for me, yeah? Okay. I don't mind you coming late, no problem. But if you come late, you just have to wait for me until when I stop like this lah. Okay. All right. So any questions? No? Okay, let's continue back. Okay, here we are. Okay, so it goes. Okay, so command line or command line interpreter or command line interface allows direct, straight command. Okay, straight you got. That means you type in the instruction, and the instruction will be translated by the operating system, and it will call a system call, and the system call will call a service. Okay, one by one. Tapi kalau you are using graphical user interface, then the graphic is there. There's no instructions. So you don't have to worry about you don't have to remember what are the instructions. It's merely just drag and drop or merely double click or things like that. Okay. So this is an example. Last week I have shown you. Okay, touchscreen dah ada dah sekarang. Okay, mouse pun dah ada. Okay, mouse pun dah lama lah. Okay. So these are the interfaces. So when you double click, contohnya in this interface down here, when you double click, let's say notes, you double click, pop, automatically opens. You don't have to type in a command, open Notepad, open so and so, open Google Map. You don't have to do that. You just have to automatically type and type. It automatically, you double click on it and it opens. Okay. So this is the same GUI, but it's inside a different operating system. Linux KDE operating system is the same operating system. It's almost the same similar type of GUI, but it runs in a different operating system. It's the same. Okay, you double click on it and things will happen. Okay, but again, if you are using command line interface or command line interpreter for Linux or Unix, then the instruction is totally different. Okay. So this is a system call. Note that the system call names used throughout this text are generic. Okay, are the same. Okay. So programming interface to the services provided by the operating system, typically written in high-level language C or C++, accessed by the programs via API. Okay, as I explained to you, what does an API mean? API, besides the fact it means application programming interface, is the way you access that particular service. Okay, it's the way you access the particular service. So Google has their own APIs. Okay, and other programs around the world, even Waze has their own API. So a user just needs to purchase an API, and inside the API there are certain services, so a user can use these services. Okay, that's how Foodpanda, that's how GrabFood, that's how Lalamove uses the same type of map that Google uses. That is why when you open Lalamove or you open Grab or you open Foodpanda, you get the same type of Google map because it's using the same API, API files from Google. Okay. The three most common APIs are Win32 API for Windows, Portable Operating System Interface API for Unix, Linux, and Java API for Java Virtual Machine. Okay, so this is how you can access these APIs from this operating system. But in a normal system call, you don't have to access the API. It automatically, you can automatically access it. You don't have to request. Okay. Sometimes some operating systems you will see every now and then there's an update simply because there's an update in an API. So when we say there's an update in the API, meaning there are more services provided inside the particular API. Okay, inside the particular. Okay, so this is how a system call functions or looks like. Okay, so this, for example, we want to copy elements from one file to another file. So this is what we want to do. Copy from one file to another file. So we want to use a system call through the method of command line interface. So this is the file that we want, the original file, and this is the destination file. So when we type the command, okay, copy from this to this, automatically it will access a system. Automatically the operating system will access the system call and will run this, this blue box here. So this blue box are the sequence inside the system call. So what is the services? So these are the services inside it. Write, open, loop, read. So these are all the services provided for the particular file. Okay, not particular file as in, okay, as in this particular file, as in the things that you can do with the things that you can do in accessing a particular file. Okay, so where is the system call? So the system call is in the straight line here. So what is the services inside this call, inside the system call? These are the services which is provided. So meaning if you want to copy, not only you can copy the file, you can read the file, you can open, loop, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is what it means by system call. Okay, so system call here, it means copy. So what are the services provided? Inilah services dalam dia. These are the sequence. So who runs the sequence? Operating system. Okay, so these are system call implementation. Okay, so this is how basically it looks like. Okay, okay, this one is nothing much lah. Okay, and these are types of parameter. Let's see what else can we learn about this. Okay, okay, others you can read on your own. This similar thing. Okay, all right. So we have stopped at chapter 2. Okay, we have stopped at chapter 2. All right. Is there anyone who wants to join in the class? Tak ada lagi. If you come late, it's going to be difficult for me to include you one by one. So I will start automatically. The class will start at 9 juga. Lambat pun, I'll let you. All right. Any questions so far? Okay. Any questions so far? No. Okay. Let's move on to chapter 3. All right. Can you see the screen? What is that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Let me just show you the overall first, and then I'll go into detail. All right. So chapter 3, we are going to talk about processes. Okay. So we are going to highlight about processes which is involved inside an operating system. Okay. So we are going to talk about the process concept. What is the process itself? We are going to try and understand what is the difference between a process and a job, or a process or a task. Okay? Although it means the same thing, but in the operating system world, this word means something else. Okay, so we're going to introduce what is a process, and also we are going to talk about what is a job, and what are the features provided inside a particular process, and how does. Okay, is there anyone else coming in? Let me check. Okay. Okay. Who is the class rep for 3B and 3A? Muhammad Akmal, are you the class rep for 3B?
Yes, sir. I'm the class rep.
Okay, 3B, you're the class rep. 3A siapa? 3A siapa? Oh, sekali je. Both Akmal, Akmal, apa nama you? Akmal, are you 3A and 3B ke just 3B je?
Just 3B, sir.
Just 3B. Okay, 3B. Okay. Okay. 3A siapa? Tiga tak ada. How about
me, sir?
what's your name? Sorry, Akmal. Akmal juga. Sorry.
Yeah,
What's your
Akmal.
name? Oh, Akmal. Okay, both Akmal. Satu Akmal 3B, satu Akmal 3A. Okay, thank you so much. Alright, macam ni. Akmal and Akmal. Because ada ramai yang masuk macam ni. And macam ni. I'll give you 5 minutes, Akmal and Akmal. Sepatutnya attendance should be 57. Termasuk saya 58. But as we can see now, it's only 47. So I'm not sure kelas mana yang tak cukup, kelas mana yang dah cukup. I'll give you 5 minutes, Akmal and Akmal. Can you please make sure the attendance sampai 58 lah? Because every time I start the class tak pernah cukup. And then attendance cukup, okay? So I give you 5 minutes. Now it's 9:20. I will stop the class now. I will stop the class now and wait for my attendance to be at